Time for another board recap podcast. How are you today, Dr. Smith?
It's great. Great day. Just came back from Rotary. We're recording this on Tuesday, the day after board meetings, but with the teacher appreciation grants.
That's exciting to see those handed out.
Yeah, great talent that we have here in Vandenberg County in our teachers.
Well, and I know that makes me think, I've just heard you say recently, just this time of year, too, such an exciting time of year. And you don't even have to go through everything because it would take a long time. But I know you've had an opportunity just to visit and participate in so many things that just kind of happen here at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's a very, very busy time of year, but it's also so gratifying to see the culmination of the work of either a year or, in the case of our seniors, of 13 years.
Right.
So just happy, good times.
Yeah. Great time of year, as you said. Well, let's take a look at good news from last night's board meeting. And we may have mentioned this at the last one because it happened around the same area or time area, but still want to mention it again. We had 3 of the 4 Vandenberg County Educators of the Year this year. Brittany Brown, Principal of the Year at Evans. Krista Fleming, longtime science teacher at North High School Educator of the Year, and longtime middle school teacher at Tompkins. Stephanie Ritchie was the Middle School Educator of the Year. These were great surprise ceremonies. We were there for all of them, and I know this is something you certainly cherish being a part of.
Very much so. I think 600 plus applicants this year.
Yes, I think so.
So quite an honor. And
actually, I think it may have been 800.
800.
I believe so. It was a lot of nominations.
Yeah, but so proud of their accomplishments and what they do on behalf of our kids and our families.
Right. And it's always fun, too, to see just how much work and effort the schools put in planning these great big surprise ceremonies, and they catch them off guard. And just to see the smiles on all the students and their colleagues' faces tells you everything you need to know about them.
You bet.
As educators. So also in good news last night, we recently had our Festival of Nations. If you've seen the Facebook pictures or on social media, we did that. But really just a great community celebration. And talk about smiling faces. There were a lot of smiling faces at that event and very highly attended. People were just coming in constantly and kids getting to showcase their cultures.
Absolutely. We even had performers from USI this year.
Yes.
So multiple schools are represented, not just EVSC, but
and tables,
certainly EVSC has the bulk.
Sure. And then tables set up food samples and just information. And really, you walk away not only with a smile yourself, but you get to learn a lot about the different cultures in our community.
Certainly do. And I love to watch the performers because they smile with such pride, beaming with pride.
Definitely.
In what they're able to accomplish.
Most definitely. Also then in good news, we've talked about robotics lately. A lot of our high schools participate in that, which is a great experience for students. New Tech then advanced from the state competition to the world's competition.
For the second time.
For the second time. And there are over 600 teams competing there. It was in Houston, Texas this year. And not just nationally, but international schools.
Right.
So can you imagine how much these students learn from seeing so many schools around the country and around the world bringing their robots? And that is a great experience.
Yes, I saw a photo of a team from the Netherlands.
Yes,
so
for sure. And then and the
international
name of the
competition.
robot, let's not forget that. I'll let you say it, Dr.
Well,
Smith.
no, that's okay.
I'll say it. It's the Superbot, named in honor of Superintendent, because you've been such a great friend to robotics in our high schools and to New Tech in particular.
Well, and that's one I'm going to take with me. Not the robot, but
okay.
But that memory, because that was special.
But not the robot.
Not the robot.
Okay, that would be fun too. And then, last but not least, in good news last night, we've had our elementary schools been conducting their kindergarten open houses or kindergarten roundup. Some of them refer to them by, but it's a great opportunity to bring in these students who will be starting with us next year and their families to get to meet the teachers, see the schools. And you and I have over the years talked about, we do different signing days, athletics, and our opt-in signing day. Well, now some of our schools have kindergarten signing days. And if you've seen the pictures on social media, you'll see incoming kindergarten students with a great big pencil signing their name that they are entering kindergarten. So a lot of excitement there.
Falls under the category of just too cute.
Yes, very much. And it's so excited to see these. And we can't wait to welcome them when school starts in August. And that takes care of good news. So if you'll take us into consent.
All right. Thank you, Jason. Let's jump right in on consent item 3.02, consideration allowance of payments, $21 million. Actually, $21,336,610.52. And those were 2 payrolls, so that's why that number was up a little bit more than it typically is in a usual 2-week span of time. Item 3.03, consideration to approve buses to be declared surplus property. So you will see, excuse me, on the side, if you click on the document, that number of buses, but several of them dating back to 2007. Uh, they have a few miles on them. Many of them have over 200,000 miles on them. And I think really that's a tribute to our outstanding mechanics in our bus garage.
Yeah, we have our own that work for EVSC, and they stay
Right.
extremely busy maintaining all of our school buses to make sure that we can maximize the mileage and keep
Yeah.
them very safe operating.
So these buses have really come to the end of their useful life with us. Um, and the board did declare them surplus, so we will then dispose of them.
That's right.
Some of them have some trade-in value on new buses, and others will be basically scrapped for the metal.
Okay.
Item 3.04, consideration approve the lease agreement with the YMCA for Eagle Valley Clubhouse. So I think this is just emblematic of the great partnerships we have.
Yeah, I've been asked about this. Tell us
EVSC in
about this,
Vanderbilt
Victor,
County.
please.
And so we own the Eagle Valley Golf Course because we purchased that for the site of a future school. That came with it a clubhouse. And when we were talking with the good folks at the YMCA, they have a lot of summer camps spread throughout Vanderbilt County, and they were looking for a site on the north side. So they talked to us. We went and toured the facility, and they thought it would be perfect for them. So we've entered into a lease really for 10 months this summer. So I think it's a win for the YMCA. It's a win for our students and our families that live in McCutcheonville and on the north side.
Because a lot of them are looking for quality summer programming, so this is going to be very convenient for them.
Absolutely. Item 3.05, consideration to approve the renewal with Vector Solutions from Safe Schools. So we use Vector Solutions for the mandatory requirements we have for online training modules for our employees, and that's why we have renewed with Vector Solutions. Item 3.03, consideration approve the towing contract with Rideout Services Center Incorporated, doing business as Tri-State Towing. So after the county approves, or actually it's the Board of Public Safety approves the contract with Rideout Services, then we are able to utilize Rideout Services within the city limits to tow our vehicles without charge to us. So we appreciate the collaborative effort with the county, with the Board of Public Safety, as well as with Rideout Services. And then the last consent item, item 3.07, consideration to approve the renewal with Education Advisory Board. We call it EAB. EAB has been a tremendous partner with EVSC really since the inception of the EAB Superintendent Leadership Forum and Advisory Board.
We really valued that as a partnership.
Certainly do. We're founding members of that. There were 22 superintendents from across the nation that came together and had conversations with EAB, and they do a phenomenal job of research, looking at best practices for those salient topics that are on the minds of all superintendents, regardless of the size of the district or if it's a rural or suburban or urban. So what EAB did was they reached out to us and said, we know that as you're retiring, Dr. Smith, that we want to make certain that the new superintendent understands these services. So we are willing to extend the contract for another 3 years at no cost extension for 3 years. And you new superintendent could opt out after the first year if they don't find benefit in that. I feel pretty certain that any and every superintendent would and will. So the total cost of this is $103,000, but I've paid for this out of a fund account, basically a fundraising account. So taxpayers of Vanderbilt County don't pay for this. But it has been a great service and one that I am very confident will continue in the future.
I remember you referring to conversations you were having with fellow superintendents in other parts of the country, West Coast, for example,
Right.
maybe dealing with some similar type issues, wrapping their head around it that you were. And I remember you saying there was a lot of just comfort and power in knowing that you were having the ability to have a conversation with someone trying to work through the same type things that you were and finding best practices, even though they were on the other side of the country.
That's right. And actually, EVSC has been highlighted in several of their publications. So
outstanding.
I think that speaks to the quality of our great employees
Most definitely.
and programs.
That took us into personnel recommendations.
Yes. And as I say, those recommendations are there for your perusal.
And then looks like we had 3 action items last night.
Yes. So action item 5.01, consideration to approve the agreement with Salvus Learning Systems. So this is with SIOP. or that's a PSYOP model, which really will be a train the trainer for 60 of our teachers and instructional coaches and department chairs, and then they will be able to train our regular classroom, gen ed classroom teachers to how better serve our MLL students. Moving on to 5.02, this was the public hearing on building projects and the preliminary determination for general obligation bonds 2025B. So this is part of the requirement for issuing general obligation bonds. So Pat Shoulders led the public hearing last night for these general obligation bonds, and then rolling into 5.03, consideration to approve adopt the project preliminary determination, and the reimbursement resolutions for Central as well as for the IBM project. So this really is an opportunity for us to eliminate the waiting list that we have for the Academy of Science and Medicine, as well as our health scientists that we have at the Career and Tech Center. Two outstanding programs.
Very much
They are very
outstanding.
well respected, have
Yeah.
great community partnerships with Ascension St. Vincent, with Deaconess, with AstraZeneca, with Red Spot, with USI, with UE, with Ivy Tech. The list goes on. And we do have waiting lists for both programs, and there is a definite need for highly skilled employees in the healthcare space in Evansville specifically, and in this region, because Evansville is that regional hub for about a 200-mile radius for our immediate communities. So it's
Definitely.
a
You just
great
don't
thing to
see
do.
these type of programs in every school district around the country, for sure. We're
In
very unique that we are
fact,
able to
we've
offer
searched
this.
high and low, and there's not another program like ASM in the
Wow.
country.
Wow.
So just phenomenal programs, and the IBM building will be able then to have a spot located next to the Stone Center downtown, where our students will be able to to thrive in that incubator for uh, health and wellness and training that we have now in Vandenberg County.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Very exciting developing news. And then if you want to take us into information items from last night.
So, item 6.1, consideration to award the contract for the Scott Elementary School Playground Project of 2025. As frequent listeners will know, we have been renovating our playgrounds one or two a year. So the low bid for this work went to Rivertown to the tune of $279,708. Once again, this is an information item, so then it will go to the board for their approval again in our first meeting in May, which is May the 12th.
And I do want to just lift too, as a former elementary school principal, that playground is a vital area of your school and elementary school. I mean, it's much more than just running out and playing for a couple of minutes. We know the benefits of play, socialization, making friends outside, getting that good exercise. And really, this has been a commitment our district has done, as you said, one to two a year for several years now.
Right.
Because if you go back a number of years, we had some dated playgrounds that needed this done. It's not a cheap endeavor. And so this has really been progress for that elementary school to have these new playgrounds built.
Certainly is. Item 6.02, consideration award the contract for the Wrights High School domestic water upgrade project of 2025. So you can see in the bid tab that there were three companies that sought information to submitted bids, and the low bidder, you may not be able to see this until it is awarded on May the 12th, but the low bidder at this point in time and moving forward is Dyke Brothers at $205,000. Moving on then to item 3.06, consideration to approve the agreement with WEX Incorporated. And we would like to engage them for their COBRA administration services. So COBRA is what our retirees have access to when it comes to our health insurance. So individuals that retire from us before they are Medicare eligible then have access to our health insurance, provided that they pay the amount for that health insurance. So WEX will handle all of the building, the direct mail, all of those services for us. And we are excited to bring them on board. Items 6.04 through 6.08 are the monthly financials that Dr. Underwood brings to board members to keep them apprised of where we stand financially. So those documents are there for your perusal. And then when we look at 6.09, we bring this financial analysis to the board once a quarter, and this is the self-insurance quarterly analysis. Um, so that really is it when it comes to the information items.
And as you say, when you look at these last several items that are financial related items, you can click on any of those attachments and you can see everything in detail that Dr. Underwood presented last night.
Right.
So, for continued business last night, we had Trustee Kiefer, as he normally does here for the last few months, and that has provided an update on superintendent search. He talked about the fact the board is now entering that stage where they are working through some contract details with an individual for the superintendent opening, and then by state statute, that contract then will be posted for 10 days. And then after that, that will put the board in a position to hold a hearing and then have an official vote where they will be naming your successor.
Yes.
So that's certainly coming very quickly. And then I believe you talked about the fact you're going to be presenting at the Rotary for your annual and final state of
Yes.
our schools.
So May the 6th, doors open, I believe, at 11:30. Lunch begins at 11:45. If you are so inclined to attend, I think you can contact Evansville Rotary on their website to register. But
Really value this.
I do
opportunity.
appreciate the Rotary Club of Evansville making that venue available to us. Being a proud Rotarian myself, I appreciate all the work that Rotary does. But it's an opportunity to highlight not just the great things that are occurring in EVSC, but then we also talk about common topics and trends that we have in education, not only in our community, but also in our state and in our nation. So I hope people find it engaging and informational. And as you noted, it will be my final time.
I believe you're
14
16th
years.
because
Right.
you did 3 in 1 year. We did
Yes.
a kind of a series that particular year.
We did. And I think that was very useful. We talked about our GAIN initiative and really marrying all of our practices to how the brain learns and develops and functions, which you would think would be replete in educational pedagogical practices, but unfortunately it isn't. And then the only other abnormality, I think, in terms of presentations occurred during the year of the pandemic when that first hit was social
But you
distance,
still
or
did
really
it
when we
during
were,
Zoom, I believe,
yeah,
if I remember
because
correctly.
I think that schools were mandated to be home in the latter part of March. So I think I still did the Rotary presentation in April or May, but just did it over Zoom. So
Sure. Well, and I know everybody, all the Rotarians and the community members that attend that look forward to that. You're seen as certainly a respected education leader in our area. And so it's a
thank
good
you.
learning opportunity for them and a great way for you to share all great things involved with
Absolutely.
EVSC.
And I think it's important for our public to know what's going on within EVSC. And this is a good, we are certainly going to save some time for some questions.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll have the answers to those questions. But I do appreciate engaging with our great public that way.
Okay. Looking forward to that. And hard to believe we're down to our last few weeks here at Senate.
Yeah.
How long we're going to be talking about commencements.
Well, we have about 3 weeks before our final week of school with finals and then commencements and all of those good things. Always bittersweet moments.
Sure. Sure.
But
But as you said at the beginning, an exciting time of the school
is.
year, most
It
definitely.
is.
So,
You bet.
all right. Thank you very much for sharing all of this today, Dr. Smith.
Thank you. Take care.